You seem hungry. Good thing your table is ready with Saturday Omaha.
Saturday Omaha.
Eat this.
We're here at Ellsworth Crossing, and I'm going to head on into the store here and talk with Tony Ellsworth. Oh, I like your bell. Oh, hey, Tony, how's it going?
Good. David, welcome to Ellsworth Crossing.
Well, thank you so much.
First thing I sometimes ask people as they come in if they're new is, how'd you hear about us or find us?
That's a really great question. I think maybe the first time either just seeing maybe a post from you guys on social, or
Sure.
I might have been in search of Plum Creek Farms chicken.
Okay.
And so being a fan of their chicken, because like Block 16 serves
Yep.
at all sorts of places around town, the really awesome restaurants do. And I know you guys had it.
Yeah.
And I had been out here a few times, and I was just blown away by the amount of local that is located in here.
Yeah. Well, we've just give quick background on the store. So we've owned it for about 3 years. It's pretty common. A lot of people love Plum Creek chicken, and we can kind of start with that. But we originally bought the store from Plum Creek Chicken.
Ah, okay.
So that's a good segue probably into them, and they're right here. But
Yeah.
Plum Creek Chicken supplies a lot of your Omaha and Lincoln high-end restaurants, just like you're mentioning there. And then when COVID happened, COVID suppressed the restaurants, and so they opened up this store originally, a little over 3 years ago, as a way to still get their chicken out to the public.
Oh, gotcha.
So our families knew each other. Our farm is just down the Platte River, about 30 minutes south, kind of by Schramm Park.
Okay.
And I had chickens. They butchered my chickens, so our families knew each other as farm families.
Yeah.
When they opened, as I had mentioned previously, they had my wife kind of manage it. And then pretty soon in there, Dean, the dad, he says, "Hey, Tony, what do you think about just buying this from me?" So,
Yeah.
long story short, we did that. We probably took over maybe about 10 farmers 3 years ago, and we're up over 100 farmers and producers now.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So, okay, so as I walk in here, since we're in
Yeah.
the audio medium, kind of describing what's here, you may hear the coolers in the background. So there are coolers of varying types of products. I'm standing next to some Yisa cheese, and all sorts of things. And Tony and I are going to take a little bit of a tour here, but there's dry goods and frozen things and refrigerated things, just all sorts of stuff. So how many farms did you say you're partnered with right now?
Over 100 farmers, ranchers, and producers.
Wow. And mostly in Nebraska, Iowa?
Yep, almost probably 98%. I do have
Yeah.
two little exceptions. I got a couple things from Iowa. We got one Colorado connection. So
That's fantastic. So you have your own Ellsworth farm, I'm assuming.
Right. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And so Plum Creek Farms had their farm. You
Yep.
partnered with them originally. They had this location. You said, "Hey, we're going to go ahead and take this over."
Yep.
What a cool deal.
Yeah, and as I was kind of telling you earlier, if it's okay to backdrop
Yeah,
this,
absolutely.
but we had started on this journey, like I was mentioning to you, and I think a lot of people, everybody has Google now, so people are learning more about their food.
Yeah.
And we see what's called functional medicine doctor.
Okay.
If somebody's not familiar with that, again, my silly way to say it is, you are what you eat. Let's not do pharmaceuticals.
Gotcha.
And Amber's got the nursing background, and actually when she first started seeing him, he says, "I'm going to have to turn you inside out a little bit." So he kind of taught her, and again, they validate that through blood, but he kind of taught her how you actually need some natural fats in your diet, and it helps your digestion. And he validates it all through blood. He can also do a food panel. So now we're into and his main thing is, you're going to get healthier just through food. So she's the nurse. I'm the health skeptic. I don't like doctors.
And Amber's your wife, just so folks out there listening know who
sorry
Amber
about
is.
that.
No, that's
Yeah.
fine.
So I'm a believer in it now, and that was just at the front end of when we were buying the store. So that's kind of what led us to Plum Creek Chicken, tying that in. And they're out in Burchard, Nebraska.
Okay.
I can tell you, again, we have over 100 farmers. All the farmers are really great, but Plum Creek Chicken is easily my most indispensable farmer. So
Yeah.
all of your chicken in the grocery store, even your organic, is at a minimum, it's all bleached. This is because USDA mandates if it comes over state lines due to salmonella and such that they bleach it. And I used to say bleach neither tastes good nor is it good for you.
Right. Well, and I seem to remember around more intense pandemic times, that was a deal, right? Because you had to be able to get chicken local because it couldn't cross state lines and things like that, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's Plum Creek chicken is not bleached, but they're not licensed USDA. They're state licensed.
State licensed. Okay.
But state license for chicken is really difficult. So what that requires, just to say it simply, is you have to raise, butcher, and package all inclusive one farm.
Oh, wow.
So it can't be Farm A, now it's Farm B, now it's Farm C. No, you have to do that. So Plum Creek Farms does that out in Burchard, Nebraska. They do the Plum Creek chicken. We order from them every week. So Amber calls in and talks to the farm family midday Monday. So that's something that we're doing today. And all the special orders go first. And you can do a whole chicken, half chicken, 8-piece, half, skin on, skin off, bone in, bone out. And I think on some of the restaurants, they do what's called an airline chicken. I had never heard of what's airline chicken. It's like a breast plus a wing. But one of the fancy restaurants do that.
Yeah.
And people come in and they get their special cuts through us. And then the rest of it, we just get regular stock. But all the chicken that we have in here, and it would be hormone-free, it's free range. Like I said, hard to be state licensed. So a lot of times we sell out Plum Creek chicken. Somebody says, why don't you get a second chicken farmer? And I'm like, there just isn't one on that one. I raise chickens myself, but it's just, I get in here between 120 and 150 fresh chickens every week. So,
wow.
So knowing how good of a product Plum Creek chicken is, that kind of gave us our start. And I'll just kind of move down here.
Yeah.
As you're walking by some of that, we do have, local wines and spirits too. That's Soaring Wings. Amber and I actually got married at Soaring Wings.
Awesome.
And a lot of times on Saturdays, if they do follow on Facebook or Instagram, and where we'll kind of end up there at the counter, I just bring the farmers or the families right in here. So we had Soaring Wings in here. This next coming week, I'll have my pork farmer in here. It gets even more fun in the spring. My Wagyu farmer brings in his bull. So he'll bring in his bull right in the parking lot.
Oh, man.
And it's a friendly one. Amber, he's had it here before, and Amber and I were in the pen and took pictures. So.
Oh, wow.
And then we have dairies and stuff too, and they'll bring bottle calves in. But that's part of what we do, just like you and I were talking about, is education. The kids love to see the animals. They love to meet the farmers. Everything that we do is very transparent. And also, a big thing is source validation. Well, I don't know how you can get better source to validation. We'll just bring the
farmer sitting in the store.
Right. We have that farmer right here, and I'll bring the animal. So here in a couple weeks, this is my lamb farmer. They're out of Wymore, Nebraska. So with Easter and Passover and different things come up in the spring, I'm actually getting 6 lambs in. So you'll see this whole freezer with all the different cuts. A lot of the lamb that's in town is all shipped in from either New Zealand or Australia. And before I owned the store, I'm an avid smoker, and I used to like to do a leg of lamb a couple times a year.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was a game taste, and I found out it's not a game taste. That is a container taste. So
really?
Yeah, and once you have it fresh out of the field, it just blows you away.
Just totally different.
Yeah, totally different.
Also, I like how on the coolers you have the name of all the different farms. So obviously we've talked about Plum Creek Farm, and Soaring Wings, but Sheepless Nights is a fantastic name. He's a great guy. His name's Dan Singleton. I've been out to his farm. Most all the farmers in here, and the source validation is personal relationship. Part of the thing that we have fun with that, it's all very much one-to-one personal basis. But Dan and his family are great people. They're out in Wymore, Nebraska, which is kind of by Beatrice. Oh, thank you, because I have not been to Wymore, so I was like, where's that?
It's kind of down by Beatrice there, which is, and he's not too far from Plum Creek Chicken. So,
oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's close enough. And when I was looking for lamb, and then farmers are very good about word of mouth.
Sure.
Referring. So.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic.
Then if we keep going, I do have a lot of people are familiar with Piedemontese. Piedemontese is out of Lincoln, and they have the Mercado. So people don't know that those two are associated, but Mercado is Piedemontese. Piedemontese is a northern Italian cow raised for taste and tenderness, right? And they do it right here in Nebraska. They have about 4 ranches, so they're one of our bigger farmers. But Amber and I, just not that long ago, were out at several of their ranches. So we go out and do that. Anytime a farmer comes in here, I interview them, I try samples, and we do that. I'm trying to do it for the public, just like you do for your own family.
So not only where your own food comes from, But
Yep.
everything that you're providing here for someone else, you can tell them where
Right.
it came from. And frankly, it's right on the case too, so people can
Right.
see.
Right.
Oh, cool.
Yep, and you can see on there, some people like the grass finish, so the green labels are grass finish, but we have it traditional grain finish too. As you see, as we go through here, I have about 4 or 5 different beefs. I don't know anybody else who has 2, but we have about 5. So,
Right. Yeah. Choose your
Yeah.
favorite.
And these are a couple neat things. We Beyond the Garden has started doing pre-prepared salads. This will be all filled up. Saturday we usually almost sell it. We do have fresh sourdough bread
Oh wow,
every
you
week.
got breads, salads, looks like some hummus, and yeah. So I guess for those out there that maybe are not eating meat, there are plenty of things out here that you can find
I get a
too.
lot of questions
So-
on that. We actually have a ton of stuff in here that's vegan friendly. We got honeys, we got breads, we got a lot of things I think that are going to be good for anybody who comes through the front door. So
Wonderful.
yeah, and we like to answer all those
That
questions.
sourdough looks good. Ooh.
And then, like I said, this Saturday is supposed to be our pork farmer. So that's Bartling Family Pork. They're from Unadilla. And they've been a pork farm since the 1800s. So
Oh my goodness.
your big difference here is, and I like to tell that to people, they go, well, what's different about it? Well, in the grocery store, you're getting about a 400-pound feedlot sow.
Okay.
He uses 2 of the top breeds, the Landers and the Duroc, and he butchers at 280. So it's a 120-pound difference.
Wow.
To the positive, just higher quality, and then you're going to get health and taste qualities that are just better. And one common thing that people say when they come in here, they taste something, they come back and say, Tony, you broke me. What they mean is they can't do the store-bought chicken or the store-bought pork or whatever.
Well,
So,
we've talked about on
Yeah.
our show a couple of times out there just how chicken specifically. So there's a book I like. It's called The Dorito Effect.
Right.
It basically, how
Yeah.
our food is produced and whatnot, and how mass-produced chickens today are grown to get really big,
Right.
really fast.
Right.
And you're losing a lot of flavor
Right.
and letting that bird grow larger and eat things that, bugs and things that
Right.
chickens naturally eat. And how, if you get a really good heritage breed chicken or something along those lines, how it just tastes like a whole different
Right.
piece of chicken than else, and
Right.
so that's kind of what you're talking about, breaking
Yeah.
so much. You have that and you're like, whoa, that's what chicken's supposed to taste like?
Right.
It doesn't, to use the quote, right, it doesn't just taste like chicken. Like, this is
Right.
awesome. So your grandmother, your great-grandmother's chicken
Right.
and dumplings, that's how it used to taste.
Right.
Whole different story there.
Absolutely. That's what happens. People, once they come in here, that's a big part of how we bought the business. I knew how good Plum Creek chicken was.
Yeah.
I think I had mentioned to you earlier, but I don't know if I've mentioned it here. Is we're 4th generation, or I'm 4th generation Nebraska ag. So I
Wow.
just knew that there's other really great small Nebraska farms,
Yeah.
and that's why I like bringing them in here. People can meet the family and see, but they're all raising holistically.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a good segue into our bison farmers. So the bison farmers out in Clarks, Nebraska.
Oh, yeah.
And they're 3rd generation, and everything that they feed the bison, they raise right on the ranch. So
Oh, wow.
you're probably noticing kind of a theme here. These guys all do it right. And I honestly, I get pictures and I follow them and we talk every week. And these guys do heroic level stuff, and we just brave through that, that tough snow and everything.
Yeah.
They're going out there and doing proper care for their animals. It's just such a contrast to, like you were just talking with the mass-produced things. One of the things I always say in here is we don't do feedlots. So
Yeah,
it's
I
just cleaner eating, and so it's healthier for you. And I kind of at the front talked about the health things.
Right.
But I'm also an avid griller and smoker. And
Yeah.
if you would have come in this Saturday, all I was doing all day was we had a burger meal with some brisket baked beans and.
Oh, so you guys are serving hot food out here too?
We do on Saturdays.
okay,
Yeah,
great.
and Amber makes a lot of stuff during the week too. So
Nice.
bison is actually it's very lean. It's tender.
Uh-huh.
A lot of people go, well, is it going to taste gamey? Doesn't taste gamey. I would say if I blindfolded you, you wouldn't know you're not eating a steak.
Sure.
And all the cuts are basically the same as you get on a beef.
Uh-huh.
Except for the one is, and it's kind of a prized cut, is the buffalo hump. So the hump roast.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've had that. Another gentleman, Chad at Cure Cooking up in
Okay.
Fort Calhoun.
Yeah, I'm familiar with
he'll
him.
have those
Right.
from time to time. So I've had them once.
He actually uses my same farmer. So
Oh, cool.
I know who he is. I graduated high school, Fort Calhoun. So.
Oh, no kidding. Small world.
Yeah,
Small world.
so
is that a bison tri-tip down there? Is that
Yeah.
what that is?
Yeah, these are terrace majors, but
Wow,
yeah.
wow.
And because we work with all the farmers every week, sometimes we do get people that want special cuts.
Sure.
But we're able to do that. All they need, if somebody tells us, we do have a website and all the technology, but we're small town too. If they just tell Amber and she takes down a lot of names and numbers and goes, well, let me talk to the farmer. Next time they run, a bison through or a beef through, we'll get that. And like I told you, all the cuts on the chicken. But the bison is the same bison that's on the Husker food table, as well as some other universities. So it's top shelf.
Wow. I see you've got venison
Yeah.
and elk, and I didn't even know we had elk in Nebraska. So
that's my one Colorado exception.
Okay.
And we do have elk, and I could get elk from Nebraska, but sometimes I have a tough call. This is one of them. So all the elk ranches that I found in Nebraska, a lot of them have quit doing elk. A lot of them have moved on to bison because it's actually easier between the two.
and a little more native here, I suppose.
They were willing to sell, and they said, I'm culling my herd, which means they're killing off the older, the not so good ones. So I turned that down. I'd love to get it from Nebraska. I tried that first, but I'm not going to do that to my customers because that's not what you want to do to have a good. That's the one we actually get that from a ranch that's in the Rocky Mountains.
Oh, okay.
We have one Colorado connection, and we have a couple Iowa ones.
Well, that makes sense, because if you want to make sure that you have that relationship with the farmer and they are doing things the way that you would like things done,
right?
That makes sense. And frankly, the elk might be happier in Colorado. I don't know, because they kind of live there, so that's good.
Yeah, Colorado's got good population of elk.
Yeah.
So this cooler here is something brand new this past week.
Oh.
This is our first private label meat. You kind of see our logo on there, but this is a lot of people wanted local Nebraska Angus. We have kind of a lot of the fancier beefs and everything, but sometimes you just want a good old Angus.
Right.
But what I like to say is it's not your grocery store Angus. So again, we don't do feedlot in here. We actually get this from a trusted farmer.
Okay.
These happen to be from Nelson Farms. People are familiar with them because they do all the 95% of the vegetable and fruit stands that'll just be coming out here.
Okay, yeah.
They're just actually not too far from us. So I bought a few beefs from them. And then we just buy the animals straight from them, and we take over the process from there. So we got just about every cut you could imagine. Again, they're all raised. These are all raised holistically. No nitrates, no hormones. Like I said, no feedlot. You could the first couple of weeks, people are going nuts on it. People like the Nebraska background, and some of the other cuts are nice, but at some point they just want a good old Nebraska Angus. So.
No doubt. Well, and awesome cuts in here. So I love the picanha cut. That's kind of a less common one. Brazilian sirloin with a nice fat cap on it, right? What's a Denver steak? I don't know what a Denver steak is.
And that is even just show you, even though people
kind of a little smaller. Oh, the little guy. Good marbling. Holy cow.
Yeah,
no
it's smaller. It's smaller, and people love them. When I let my wife do the cuts, she's smarter about it because from a customer facing standpoint, because she's in here every day, Tuesday through Saturday, and I can tell you, a lot of people like it. It's a nice tender cut, as you can see. Yeah, it's got good marbling. It's very reasonable, and I don't know, if you're like me anymore, I got to cut my steak in half. I can't eat a whole big, huge steak. So a lot of people like to get the Denver steak because it's just perfect size for a meal.
Make your small bites really awesome so you enjoy that small amount.
Yep.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And those are kind of smaller, and then you can get everything up to huge things. So, good deal.
And then like I was saying, we have about 5 beefs here. We have Wagyu. So the A5 Wagyu is 100% full blood, and that's from Crete, Nebraska. That's the guy that I was mentioning to you earlier. He'll bring his bull in here. So anybody's looking for it, Saturday before Memorial Day weekend, that Saturday, he will bring his bull in here. He usually does 100 free Wagyu burgers, and that means I'm on the grill. And there's some neat stories in here. He's one of them. So he's 100% full blood. The genetics go all the way to Japan. Kobe is what a lot of people recognize with that.
Yeah.
And he just recently went down to Texas, and they have a competition, and he took first place.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm like thinking if you go down to Texas, you should lose just on bias alone, right? How do you come in from Nebraska and take first?
Was this a steak cooking competition or what's okay?
Yeah, they had professional chef level people and would take the beef from each of the different farmers, kind of blind test. Here's the number one blue ribbon champion, and that was Adam, and Adam's out of Crete. And then there's another one in here you'll see, and some people may be familiar, Rakes.
Yeah.
They're out of Ashland, so they just recently, they used to have a store somewhat similar to ours
downtown
at
Ashland, right?
And they shut their front doors. They do sell from their farm and website, but now we're part of their front door.
Gotcha.
That we have them in here, and I've had Rakes in here on a Saturday, and we'll have them again.
Yeah.
But they do what's called the American Wagyu. So some people are like, okay, what's the difference? So the A5 is full blood, as I was talking about with Adam, and the American Wagyu is 50% Angus, 50% Wagyu.
Okay.
And having tasted all of them, my hardest question to answer in here is people say, what's your favorite? And that's the one that stumps me. I'm like, I just kind of go around the world. They're all good.
Yeah.
I just try to help people with the different taste qualities. So like on the A5, the 100% full-blood Wagyu, very tender, very buttery type taste.
Yeah.
Obviously costs a little bit more because it is 100% full blood. And I go, well, definitely get it for a special occasion. I said, once you do, you'll be inventing more special occasions. So there's that. But then the American Wagyu, honestly, it's pretty different.
Yeah.
Because you have kind of the base there of the Angus, but then you get kind of just the finish of the Wagyu of some of the buttery tenderness. So I like to say it's like the best of both worlds.
Gotcha.
And it's just, somebody says, well, what do you like better? I said, well, I'd like to have one Saturday, another the other Saturday, and we have the Angus here and, just bison ribeye. So
just change it up. Well, and to fit your budget too, because I mean, what's an A5 ribeye going for per pound versus say a non-Wagyu?
Yeah, there are different price points in here, and people want different things. So it's a good deal. And one of the things, if nobody's tried Wagyu, just like I mentioned, Adam's coming in here. I team up with a farmer, so he'll say, okay, let's do the 100 free Wagyu burger so people can taste it. And he brings in the Wagyu burger, and I always say, well, I'll do the condiments, I'll do the grilling, Adam, I'll do this. He comes in, we start preparing. Nobody uses condiments.
Oh, because the burger's just that good.
Yeah, Wagyu, you can even taste it. And if I sacrifice a summer sausage or two, and we use the Yisa cheese or something, my Wagyu summer sausages will sell out that day.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Somebody will take a bite and
So you don't have to go all the way up to a ribeye to taste the Wagyu difference. You can do it in a burger. And he recently, I team up with all the farmers, and his prices actually for his grade is really reasonable. He says, I'd like to go down a little bit. Would you match me? I said, yep, I will. And we did that. A lot of times Amber tells me, she's like, okay, I'm wrapping up the store, and she's coming home to the farm. What do you need? I'm always
burgers.
Like, bring home some Wagyu, all your Nebraska fresh beef that you get in here.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you our definition of beef, that's one of the things they kind of play around with. You have to be careful. All of our beef is legitimately 100% beef. Sometimes it's almost what I would call steak burger, because it's you're not getting just what a lot of, I guess, what you might find at the grocery store and their definition of ground. It's quite a bit higher grade, and just like I talked about, Tony, you broke me, so try the burger, you'll see. We have a lot of dairies in here. We kind of touched on Yisa. I do have a local ice cream, and we get local butter and that. We have Burr Box, which a lot of people are familiar with.
Mm-hmm. Good milk.
And then Nebraska Vegetable and Protein, they were on TV quite a bit. They're out of Nebraska City, so they have the lettuces here, and they do aquaponics, so I get fresh lettuce all year round.
Oh, cool.
And the big difference, again, way healthier than your typical lettuce. No sprays, nothing foreign on it. You're just getting pure lettuce, and it lasts longer. So a lot of times you bring that bag lettuce home, and 2 days later it looks like soup in the grate. It's bad.
Yeah.
Not so with this, and it's because there's no sprays and there's not all the junk, but just way healthier, tastes better. And then Nebraska Vegetable and Protein was just on the news all over the place. They were the first ones in Nebraska. They do the salmon and trout.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because you can get Nebraska salmon.
Yep, and they helped us out, and people are like, oh, what if I don't want to go all the way to Nebraska City? Where do I get the trout and the salmon? They're like, Ellsworth Crossing.
Oh, so you guys have the trout and the salmon here.
We actually just, with Lent, we just sold out, but we'll get a fresh shipment.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times, too, I will, during the week, I smoke up a bunch of salmon, and then Amber will turn it into salmon dip. Whenever we do salmon dip in here, it's just gone.
I bet.
Yeah, she did fish tacos this last week, too.
Ooh,
so
nice.
And then the eggs here, all the duck eggs are from our farm. Most of the chicken eggs are, and I have some reels up on the Facebook. There's a gal that I hire to, as much as I can, I try and hire small businesses and give back and everything. And there's a gal that's an ag student down at UNL, and she does ag marketing. So for our Facebook reels, I have her come in here and do it. And she came out to our farm and did one, because our daughter, I wake her, she's in her senior year. I wake her up at the crack of dawn to go do chicken and duck chores. Somebody could go out there and look, and it's on our YouTube channel too, but they could go out and look and see a day in the life a little bit, or at least the morning.
Cool.
And all the chickens we have a grain that we feed them that is very high level. It's got oyster shell. It's got a lot of protein things that meet, and it's not cheap, but it's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, she does all their waters and stuff, and they get a lot of extra vegetables or fruits or different things out of our store here, and then we let them free range. And so it's a totally different level of, quality. And that's better for the animals, but anything, Dean's saying used to be happy animal, healthy animal.
Absolutely.
So that's the eggs, and all the eggs are hand-picked, hand-washed. And then a lot of people ask me about duck eggs, and before I was ever in the store, I'd never had a duck egg, and then I was curious as to why people eat them. So some people have a little bit of an allergy or sensitivity to chicken eggs, so that's part of it. And then the other thing, and you're seeing some cheesecakes and such right above it, avid bakers love duck eggs.
Yeah.
Because duck eggs are bigger and they're richer.
Yeah, the yolk to white ratio, the yolks are huge comparatively to a chicken egg, right?
They're huge, and they're bigger and richer. I wouldn't say that they taste wildly different from chicken eggs, like you're going to be scared to taste them. Actually, once I started on them, now I'm spoiled. I only eat duck eggs. So, and there's tons of customers through here that, I've talked to them, and they're on duck eggs, and now they won't go back. You can see them, we have them in a half dozen, and that's because they're about twice the size of chicken eggs. So you're getting about the same. And a lot of our farmers and bakers and different things like that, when they come in, Salted Edge buys all their eggs from us.
Oh, sure. Okay. Yeah.
And so we partnered up with him actually before they started, and they called us, and Greg Young, who's with a customer of ours too, he says, go talk to Ellsworth. They know how to work with the farmers. So they were doing a farm-to-table restaurant. So I talked to their head chef, Joel, and he comes in here. They come in here every week.
Yeah.
So I can tell you they're using top shelf stuff. They're not cutting corners. So they're...
Well, and back to the eggs for a second, for those that haven't had a farm fresh egg, so the yolks are much deeper in color, deep yellow, almost orange sometimes, because it's a lot richer.
Right.
And then the other thing on duck eggs, I was told once that, chickens, I think they lay, about an egg or two a day, give or take a little bit. Ducks, from what I understood, they don't roost the same way? They just kind of drop eggs as they go? Is that true?
It's true. So I have a separate duck coop for them. And the chickens have the boxes, and they lay in the boxes.
Yeah.
And the ducks will, usually they almost make like a ground nest.
Okay.
Typically, although they will drop an egg or here or two. Sometimes I always tell Kaylin, our daughter who takes care of, and I look for them too. You just have to keep your eye.
Yeah,
it's almost
watch
like
where you're walking.
Like an Easter egg hunt. I spy a duck egg over here. So
that's awesome.
And it's fun. It's actually entertainment. And we just had all the kids out to the farm yesterday. But I love letting them out to free range. It's the chickens take off, and they're kind of like crazy, and they're everywhere, and they're flapping and squawking, and the ducks, you open up the gate, and all of a sudden you hear whack, 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 whack. And I'm a veteran, so I look at them as like military. Next thing you know, they're all on a line, and they've got an objective, and they're lined up, and they go nail their objective, and they're very organized. So they're just two totally different personalities.
Any of them ever hold up a wing like stop? Or,
right. Yeah, like spring's coming up here, and I probably everybody in Nebraska deals with Japanese beetles or whatever. We have a really nice rhubarb patch, and it kind of attracts that. But you'll see the ducks, they're and they're lined up, and they just
they're going after them?
They head straight to different places like that, which is beautiful for us because honestly, we don't use any of the chemicals and stuff
you got
to combat that stuff. It's all natural. And we have fruit orchards and stuff, so we don't use any chemical. But the birds take care of it.
That's fantastic. And then you get nice, healthy birds on top of it, and your rhubarb plants are clean. So.
Yep, absolutely.
Just watch as you're walking to the rhubarb that you don't step on an egg in case one of the ducks dropped one on the way.
Right. Yeah. And as you can see, we got more stuff, but that's typically where I let people start shopping after the nickel tour. But
yeah, that's awesome. And I saw you have some alcohol here as well.
So we've owned the store for 3 years, and about a year ago, we got our alcohol license. We're like, okay, because people are coming in here, they want to do a steak, and they don't want to run all the way back into Omaha. So they say, so we did the wine and spirits. We started with Soaring Wings. We kind of hit them up front. It's where Amber and I got married, and actually our farm's not too far from Soaring Wings. So we have a variety of things. We have a couple different Nebraska wines. And then we have Loop River, which some people are familiar with, and they do more of the straight alcohol, so like a rye or a whiskey or a bourbon or vodka.
Yeah.
And then Lazy RW is another one, and I love all the stories. The guy that owns that, his name's Todd. Him and his dad come in here, and he's got the flavored whiskey. So if you look at his bottle, he actually uses like the natural pulp lemonade, so it'll be like a lemonade whiskey would be one of his top sellers, and you have to vigorously shake up the bottle, but then it's ready to pour and very sippable, I would say. So when you get these, we're getting into spring and such, and him and his dad, they converted a schoolhouse. I think it's Moorefield, Nebraska, which is not even big enough to be a town. It converted a 2-room schoolhouse into their distillery.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and this is all Nebraska corn stuff.
Wow.
This is my one Iowa exception, or one of my Iowa exceptions, Revelton. The owner of Revelton, his name is Rob. He's from Osceola, Iowa. Rob will be up here. The owner of Junk Stock comes in here and shops too, so we're going to be one of the sponsors of Junk Stock this year. That same weekend, I like to have somebody who's fun. And so Rob of Revelton will be in here. This is another story. This is a honey whiskey. So one of the things that really attracted me to them is his honey whiskey is his bees on his farm. So he has bees. So again, even though we're moving from food to wine and spirits, the natural
still carries through.
Yeah, it still carries through. I can tell you, when you taste his honey whiskey, you're having honey whiskey. He doesn't shortcut the process. And then like his mulberry gin is his mulberries.
Oh my goodness.
And I could tell you, I could care less about gin. I'm not a gin lover. And then we got it in here because somebody will like it, and our customers are like, Tony and Amber, you gotta take that mulberry gin home. So I did, and it is incredible. Like normally I would never I could care less about gin, but that is so good.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And we used to have, in our, alcohol cabinet at home, all your usual suspects like Jim Beam and whatever.
Sure.
It's all gone. All I have is the Nebraska products with a couple Iowa exceptions, and it's way better. I told Rob, because I was Navy veteran. Navy veterans, of course, drink rum. Navy guys drink rum, right?
Fair enough.
But there's no rum in Nebraska, and my producers are like, well, because we got corn, Tony. And now I told Rob, I said, you converted a Navy rum guy over to honey whiskey. Yeah, he laughs about that every time. I go, you should put that on your website. That's pretty good.
And then you've got a lot of cool dry goods. So the Timbo's Spice, I had seen those guys at Casanova's in Rockbrook, but he grows like all his own spices.
Timbo's is one of the things I got really excited about because, as I mentioned earlier, I'm an avid griller and smoker.
Yeah.
And your grillers and smokers, you like your rubs, you like your spices.
You bet.
So as you can see, he doesn't have like 2 spices. I can't keep track of how many. He's got something for everything. Timbo's, if you turn around, it's like 3-4 ingredients, no science degree required. You can read every single ingredient. And when you open that cat and just look at it and sniff it, you're going to go, this is not my grocery store spice. So it's all handcrafted in La Vista. Tim will be, periodically I have him out here, another one where I'm on the grill all day and I let him present. He's usually got all his spices lined up. He's got some, and the other thing I like about it is people come in here and say, okay, Tony, you got some ground pork. I want it to be healthy, but how could you make it taste like Jimmy Dean's? And I know how to do that. I used to just write down the ingredients for them. So sage is one of your key things there, and it's a little garlic, cracked pepper, sea salt. Timbos, now I just grab Timbos. Just grab Timbos. The same thing like I told you, I got fresh lamb, and we're coming into spring, and a lot of people want to do lamb for Easter or Passover. Sure. I used to write down, here's the key lamb spices, here's what you do. Now I just go Timbos. So
done deal.
He makes life a lot easier for me. And then the Nebraska vegetable and protein with the fish, he's got a specially formulated one for fish. Our pork farmer on his thick cut bacon has a raspberry chipotle, but you could also do Timbos, has a raspberry chipotle, and then Plum Creek chicken. And actually for Thanksgiving this last year, he's got this beer can chicken rub,
nice.
And I love that. That's very, very good.
That's awesome. And you were talking about the bacon and nitrites and stuff like that. So you have like uncured bacon that's available. So no nitrites, no nitrates.
A common comment that I get is people are sometimes they're scared if they haven't tried it or heard.
They see the word uncured and get real
they go,
worried.
okay, I don't know if I'd like that. I'll tell you this, you're not going to taste the difference. It's more on the health side. So, you preserve meat somehow.
Sure.
And so all that means is the cure is your preserve. And on the cured bacon, it's going to be done with what I just call the bad salt. So it's going to have the nitrates in it. Just not as good health-wise for you. The uncured, which is also preserved, just different, which is sea salt, honey, and celery.
Gotcha.
And you could blindfold somebody, you're not going to taste the difference. And the other thing that's nice about that, now if you go the uncured bacon, you do need your natural fats. So just like how grandma used to do it, when I get done with the bacon, I put it into the mason jar and I keep all and if you never had any nitrates in there, it's all pure. When I cook my breakfast the next time, I'm getting the lard, out just like a lot of people used to do in the old days. And then they go, that's bad for you. Well, a lot of that it's bad if it has nitrates. Sure. Same thing like don't eat red meat. Well, don't eat red meat from a feedlot.
That's awesome. Well, that's so cool that you know the farmers.
Yeah.
You met the farmers.
Right.
Your folks that are shopping here, depending on the day, might be able to meet the farmer or maybe the bull.
Right.
And then just to be able to answer those questions, because people have different dietary or taste needs, whatever that may be, and just being able to talk to somebody that is close enough to the food that you can just answer those questions is fantastic. Are there any in the middle section here? So as we walked in, we're by the coolers. In the middle, we're by the spices and things. Are there any anything that is kind of unusual that's hiding in here? I see some soups and honeys and.
No, there's some different stuff. And then one thing I don't have in here, but I feel like would be unfair not to mention it. Usually up in that first cooler by the eggs, especially this time of year, I've got fresh maple syrup. So there's a guy. His name's Ethan, and we got him in here last year just ahead of the cold, and he taps silver maples in Nebraska.
Okay.
I had never heard of this before, but now when I first started the store, I had to target some people, and I was like, well, I want to fill out my product mix this way, and I'd make some calls. I don't have time to do that anymore. Every once in a while, I get a farmer or producer through my front door. They go, what about this? Sometimes it's fun because I'm blown away, and then there's the story. But Ethan came in and let me taste it. And I can't even say I'm normally a big maple syrup guy, but I taste it. I'm like, how quick can you get this in here? and Amber handles all the inspection process and all that stuff. She's incredible at it. Actually, our inspector comes out here and uses us as a training place.
Wow.
Well, you kind of see the variety of products. And I have everything from USDA to state and blah, blah, blah. And so he can cover all the bases, and Amber just does an incredible job with that. Anyway, Ethan he's a Nebraska guy, local here. He taps silver maples. Once there's a reason I have none. As soon as I get the bottles in, they're gone.
I didn't even know we had tappable maples.
I didn't either, and that's kind of, I think, more of a Northeast thing.
Yeah.
Typically. So when the year got done, and he was encouraged, and he was one of the families I had in and presented to, our customer base. He was encouraged. He went up to Wisconsin and entered in, was first Nebraska person to enter in. Very first time he took second place. So
wow.
And he got, I can't remember what the certification and grade level, but he's got top grade, second place. And this year, the weather, it is very weather dependent. Everybody was thrilled about all the warm weather except for Ethan. So, And anybody who's wanting maple syrup. So that's the maple syrup.
That's cool. I mean, I'm glad you had mentioned the salmon, and I didn't know we were doing a trout farm too, but like Nebraska grown salmon, Nebraska maple syrup, and actually the Yisa cheese. That's another one of those things where probably a year or two ago, I didn't know we were making cheese in Nebraska.
Yeah. We have several good dairies, Yisa, and then right above it to the left, you kind of see those pints of ice cream. So that's Beauty View, and they're just up the road, and that's Melissa, and she'll be one of the ones that brings a bottle cap. When I have a bottle, there's tons of families in here, they just go nuts. And we give away, free ice cream. But the big difference on that is your Guernsey cow. So a Guernsey cow is a dairy cow, and both Amber and I are lactose sensitive. So I try to try everything, and I remember the first time Melissa was coming in here, I'm like, well, let's give this a whirl during the week, but just a little bit, right? And I'm tasting it, and if you've never had ice cream from a Guernsey cow, you're in for a treat. Just very buttery, very creamy, you're going to go, I've never tasted ice cream before. Wow. This is what ice cream should taste like. And then neither Amber or I had any difficulties with the digestion on it. So I talked to Melissa, and she does work with UNL too on it. And I'm like, what's the deal with that? And she's like, I don't think as many people have issues with that. It's just the wrong dairy. It's the wrong dairy cow. So it's, anyway, she has now come out with several different flavors. She just kind of started off basic, but she's been going at it for a couple of years now. So you got like butterbrickle and confetti and stuff. Yeah, but when she comes in here, if you really want to taste the difference, you just take a vanilla. And even, I would never be the person to say, oh, give me vanilla. But you can really, that's the one that can really help you taste the difference of what a Guernsey cow, ice cream would taste like. And
that's cool.
There's another one too, George Paul, the vinegars. Those are high-end vinegars.
I didn't know we
apple
made
cider. Yeah, he's another one, and he likes it out here because we carry his whole line. So he's got maybe one or two bottles like in a Whole Foods or something like that. But quite frankly, he got kind of frustrated because they put him towards the bottom or pull his stuff or only have one or two. So when I talked to him, I said, no, we could carry your whole line. So that's his whole line, and I think it's very attractive to a lot of what I'm just going to call foodies.
Sure.
So we actually, when we took over the store, Dean had a little bit of what he had, but then it was kind of by customer demand. They're like, hey, we do all these special recipes and we want the high-end vinegar and whatnot. And so as you can kind of see here, he's got a nice line, and they are Nebraska, Nebraska developed high-end vinegars. So
very cool.
Good for cooking and whatnot. A lot of people are familiar with Papa Rico's. We get him. He comes in here, and he gives us some stuff he doesn't do anywhere else. He does fresh grated Parmesan cheese for us.
Wow.
That's up in the front cooler. And he gives Amber some of his Sicilian recipes, and sometimes we will sell goulash. That's one of our meals on a Saturday.
He's making Parmesan?
Yeah, he fresh grates Parmesan
fresh
cheese.
Grates. Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay.
Here's one other one, too, that I think is really neat. This is a newer one, Carinera.
Okay. Where are they from in Nebraska there?
They're newer, and I kind of forget.
Council Bluffs looks like a cool.
That's where that's where their kitchen is. That's where their kitchen is.
Gotcha.
So Carinera is a non-mayo sauce. So I'm showing you Papa Rico's, which is your traditional tomato sauce for like pasta. So some people go to no mayo. Amber was actually doing this for me for quite some time because of what I just told you about, and I still wanted to have spaghetti or a pizza or something like that. I think it's carrots, celery, beets are some of the main ingredients, and Amber would do this, and she would make me a chili sauce, and honestly, our kids would come over and she would do it. They couldn't even taste the difference.
Yeah.
But I had this young couple come in maybe like a year ago, and we just get to talking like you and I are, and they're like, hey, we're going to do this thing, and it's no mayo. And I told Amber, I'm like, there's nothing on the market for this. And I'm like, we should do this, but we don't have enough time where, the store takes up all our time. So this young couple comes in and says, we're doing this, which ends up to be now Carinera. And I told Amber, both of us were so excited. I'm like, please do it. I think you have a great product. We thought of the same thing. It's tons of work to do it. You have to send in all these jars. It costs hundreds of dollars. You send it down to the state to get the acidity tested for each flavor. Like for Carinera, I could tell you each flavor that they had, they would have had to have done that whole process. So it's kind of grueling. Anyway, they've done it. They've launched. We have them here. We've done some meals with them. Sometimes we'll do a pasta thing, and I call it leaded and unleaded. So
sure.
Some people want their tomatoes and their Sicilian stuff, and some people just want to try the marinara. And we do have Roberto's pizza in here, which is a gluten-free pizza, and he does just the crust. So I tell some people when I've done this, I just take Roberto's gluten-free crust, I take some marinara, and then you take the, any of the good beefs in here. You just need to add some, mozzarella cheese and some of your other toppings, and you have the makings of a really healthy. You could have a no-mayo, gluten-free pizza that tastes amazing. So anyway, the marinara sauce is kind of a fun story, and they just had their first baby, and good people. So I told them they were supposed to come in here, and of course, I'm like, no, take your time. You guys get your feet underneath you. You just launched a new product and starting your family. But anyway, at some point I'll have them in the store, and
that's cool.
We've done some meals already though with the marinara. It's really good.
That's cool. I had no idea that anybody was making a carrot forward pasta sauce or anything like that. And fresh whole carrots, onion, olive oil, garlic, salt, basil, ascorbic acid, vitamin C, oregano, and black pepper. That sounds delicious.
It is. It's really good. I'm very grateful for it.
Yeah. Obviously having been out to the store before, I knew you carried a lot of things, but thanks for guiding me through some of the vinegars and, some of those things that I didn't even know were available as a Nebraska produced good.
Right.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
We had talked with Ryan Berry of Willie Dogs in Omaha, and he has this phrase, hyper local. It's like local supporting local.
Sure.
And you guys are double, triple down on that one, right? So that's just very, very cool.
We love doing that. We believe in Nebraska and all these producers, and just like as we're sharing, they all have a neat, unique story. So that's the other thing I tell people: when you buy here, not only you get healthier, better tasting, but you can have confidence every time you're buying in here. You're supporting over 100 Nebraska families and small businesses. So
that's great. And I think that's one of those things too, where wherever you are, supporting local is really awesome.
Right.
And the farm to table movement and things like that, of knowing where your stuff comes from is awesome. And I like the fact that I can come out here and see you or Amber, same way if I go to a local restaurant, and you're going to get, a friendly smile, hearty handshake, and you're providing that care for your neighbor through, because my guess is everything that you have out here is something you would probably eat yourself, and in fact, when you're in the store too, you look back here and it's like, oh, you've got a kitchen, a microwave, and a fridge right back there, and that's just fantastic. That's just fantastic.
Yeah, we love it. And like I said, I kind of joke sometimes, if you ever see Amber in action here and somebody pops through that bell that we started off with there, and she'll recognize them, she calls out their name, and I'm like, I'll date myself a little bit here, but it's kind of like Cheers.
Oh, sure.
Except we're the farm.
Hey,
right. You want to go, to the bar where everybody knows your name, but our store is like that. When people come through the front door, Amber knows who they are, what they like, their preferences, etc. So. And of course, when I'm in on Saturday, she says, "Oh, they're new," and then I go greet them. Sometimes it's not always me, but
what all are you raising on your farm, on the Ellsworth Crossing
farm? We got the
ducks,
the chickens. We actually have some cattle. We have the hay for the cattle, and then we have a fruit orchard, and then we've got raised beds with various different produce and vegetables.
And then running the store all at the same time, and of course the family as well.
Right.
So
right.
Do you sleep ever? Like,
I'm kind of used to it. Like I told you, I was in the Navy. I stood watch overnight, so that's the veteran kicking in. No, we do end up working about 7 days a week, but you enjoy what you do. It just becomes more of what your life is, versus a job. So. This is just what we do, so we enjoy doing it.
If folks want to follow what's going on at Ellsworth Crossing, what's the best way to keep up with you guys so people know what's going on and when a bottle calf is going to be here, and how do people find out all that stuff?
Facebook and Instagram, we're on both of those. And then we do have a website. The website is a great place to go. We actually, some of the videos that we've been interviewed by Dave Weber, we've done some other Nebraska things. So we post all those things up on the website. They can order at the website, but we do love just seeing people in the store. So open Tuesday through Saturday every week. We're open 10 to 6 during the week, and then 10 to 5 on Saturday. Then one other option too, we do send out 2 emails a week.
Okay.
Usually one on Tuesday. So if you get get your email to us, or they can just text Ellsworth, our last name, same as the store name, to 85100.
Okay.
They get 2 text messages. They will never get spammed because it's just me and I don't have that much time.
Well, and you guys don't sell spam.
Right,
So,
right. So on Tuesday, usually I'll just say this is kind of the setup for the week, or maybe some new products. And then Friday or Saturday, I'll let people know what meal we're going to serve on Saturday,
Okay.
who the farmer or special guest that they'll see in any sales or whatnot. So that's maybe the easiest. Facebook has the most. So if you follow us on Facebook or Instagram, you'll see it that way.
Well, I love the fact I didn't know that you guys did hot meals out here on a Saturday, so you can maybe meet that farmer and try some stuff out that is prepared, which is very cool. And also, having driven out here from downtown in what is essentially rush hour traffic, it really doesn't take that long to get here. I think some people might be a little worried. It's like, oh, it's way on the outskirts of whatever. It doesn't take that long, and it's a nice drive out here. And I think when you come in and see all the local things and a smiling face greeting you and an educated face that will help you find what you need and let you know where things came from, I think that's just fantastic. That sounds good.
Well, thank you.
Well, awesome. Well, Tony, thank you so much for you and Amber opening the doors here at Ellsworth Crossing. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, David,
All right,
for coming
thanks,
on. I
Tony.
appreciate you.
All right. Well, as we say in the show, until we eat again, stay hungry. Bye.
Our show is recorded and produced by Saturday Omaha. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, as well as email SaturdayOmaha@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and stay hungry.
Saturday Omaha.
Eat this.